though, is you might be able to try to work their name into the conversation, okay? If it's with a client, or if it's with an employer. So you might say, oh yes, Professor Ding, oh yes, Professor Scher, oh yes, John Fung. You know, it calms people down when they hear their name. It calms people down. So you try to remember what their name is, and you try in some way to work their name into your conversation. And that helps you to be able to keep people calm. A lot of this stuff is really about psychology. And to a certain extent, we as lawyers have to be lawyers and social workers and psychologists and mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters. So it becomes very complicated, our role. You know, John Fun has been, and I have been working on cases, and actually Professor Ding has been working on a case as well, that involves labor law. And the new labor law is enough to keep all of you lawyers busy, that's for sure. There will be enough complaints made over the course of your legal career that you will have enough money to buy a house with it. Trust me, okay? Just since January 1st, 2008, they have a new labor contract law, right? And they will, on May 31st, 2008, they will, or May 1st, they thought, I guess, they'll institute 1 year-long statute of limitations to bring a claim. So there's going to be a lot of things that you'll have these actions. But remember, try to separate your emotion from your job. Try to separate emotion from your job. When you're dealing with lawyers, when you're dealing with your colleagues and classmates, remember that the whole business of law and the whole business of dealing with clients is not, if you talk about the Olympics, it's not a short run. It's not a 50-yard dash. It is a marathon. And whoever you harm when you're going up, they will come back to try to kick you when you're coming back down, that's for sure. When I was a young lawyer, I thought I was really great, I thought I was really smart, and I was really stupid. The reason why is, I remember when I first started out in Chicago and we were litigating cases, a very older, experienced lawyer asked me for a break. He said, you know what, I don't want to hand this piece of paper into the court on Friday, I've got my son's birthday, could you just delay it, for one day and give me a break? And I thought, no, my job is to be an advocate. My job is not to give any breaks to the other side. My job is to punish the other side. And I said to him, no, you've got to get the court paper in on that date. And he was very angry. But for the rest of the time we were doing the case, he made me do twice as much work. And so it was very, very difficult. Okay, but what I'm saying is, try to remember it's a long-term kind of thing. Know when to leave, don't stay too long. After the interview, send a thank you letter. Always follow up with this, guys. Always follow up with a thank you letter, and also with the clients. First remember, opportunity is better than salary and benefits, especially when you get started. Same with getting clients. And then later, work this stuff out mostly with the HR people, just so you know about the technicalities of these types of things. You want to, but the most important thing I think is, sorry about that, is, this is not going to help your career, gossiping. This is not going to help your career. So when you're in the job, try to, when in doubt, ask. If you have a question, better to ask than to assume that you don't know what it is. Try to talk to as many people as possible, but don't be gossiping because it's really not helpful. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt you, and don't watch the clock. And then you need to be able to follow some level of respect in the office, and every office is different. So, for example, John Fun, she worked in a European firm here in China, and they have their own habits about how to call themselves, and maybe Americans might have a different habit, and so you just want to know what's the right way to do it. Whether it's going to be their first name or their second name, and don't be flip with these kinds of things. Nowhere are people more confused about matters than in the office. Like I said, at the end of the day, clients will not get rid of you if you have good manners. I know that sounds crazy. You can make mistakes in the law. You can make mistakes with their cases. You can make all things bad. But as long as you have good manners and you tell them directly, okay, I did this. This is what I'm trying to do to rectify the situation. Generally speaking, you can salvage the client. The client already wants to work with you. Is already working with you, for goodness sakes. And so they presuppose that they like you. And the most important thing on this is good manners, for sure. You need good manners in the office. And we treat men and women equal, and don't forget about that. But also, I think it's very important for men to open up doors for ladies if possible, let them go into the elevator first, and do that kind of stuff. It's very important. Well, okay, it says a little something different here, but both men and women should rise to meet the client. Whichever gender is hosting the lunch pays for it. This becomes confusing. Usually when you're a client, in this client situation, you probably want to pay for the meal. Keep things tidy. No terms of endearment around the office. It's not appropriate. And then this is try to eat in appropriate places where there's a kitchen or something else. Pay attention to good manners. Don't answer the phone with your mouth full. Also, the other thing I just want to say is, remember when you pick up the telephone, say, be polite to people as best you can. We have to explain this, whether it's a job interview or whether it is a personal phone call or whether it is a business-related phone call. There has to be a beginning. Hello. Hello, this is Mr. Lehman. Hello, this is John Fun. Hello, this is Professor Day. And then you always want to close. And I'm very surprised Chinese. Sometimes they just say, look, water. I'm going to close it. I don't know if this is the correct way they answer. So always try to be over polite. The one thing I have to say is, having met a lot of people like Professor Schroer, like Professor Ding, like big leaders in this country, the more high up the people are, the more polite. I mean, really, I met Bo Xilai one time, I met Zhurong Ji. The more high level these guys are, they're unbelievably polite. They're unbelievably nice. It's absolutely amazing. And like I said, with your professors, these are extremely polite people, and use them as role models. Learn from those guys. And it really will help you a lot. That's one thing that they're... Save personal business for lunchtime, pay for your own personal phone calls, don't abuse office supplies, don't bring your moods into work with you, nobody wants to hear it. Try not to use bad words at work, it's not acceptable. And try to keep emotion out of work if you can. It's difficult because we're all in here, we want to get clients to get money so we can pay for our business and we can pay our employees. And we also want to get a job to pay for our overhead. But it's very important to try to keep emotion out of it. And don't keep a messy work area, that's what we see. And don't groom in public, okay? But like I said, prepare for meetings ahead of time, alert attendees, the purpose of the meeting, stay on course, that's really important. State the time and date when the meeting is to start, and a limit for the starting and the end of things. Meetings can go on forever. Call on people to speak to avoid interruptions. Don't interrupt people. Start on time, like I said. Latecomers inconvenience those who do not arrive promptly. And here's a little joke. Let's see, I like Jenkins. I like Jenkins' can-sue attitude. So we put this joke in here. Attorneys at law, we have a lot of litigation. So remember, accuracy, attitude, credit. You're building up credit about who you're all about. Deadlines, make sure you're going to meet those deadlines. Good use of time, stay away from time wasters, playing on the computer. Speech, good use of command of language at work is important. Taking an initiative but not being aggressive, that's important. Thoughtfulness, be aware of the different personalities around you. This again